Alrighty, well, just talked about in the weekly outlook that I'm pretty bullish going into this week, if you want to call it a bull bear kind of thing. However, look, tomorrow we've got no major data coming out. Tuesday is when we're going to have CPI pre-market, and we just had a really nice, huge, expansive session, right? We broke out of this kind of multi-day balance, something like this, whatever, from Thursday onwards. We've broken out of this balance zone and to the upside. So I would expect, both because there's no news and because we've had this nice expansion session, I think it'd be nice to get a little bit of a contraction session. I just want to measure out the points here. How many points did we move yesterday? What is this? About 43.67. 67 and 3/4 points. I mean, that's a hell of a range. That's almost the weekly high to the weekly low. That's pretty close to last week's low to what ended up being the high of the week. So something like a 40-point range would make sense to me. And I imagine we trapped quite a few shorts on that move upwards. So I'm thinking that we kind of hold the bullish area of this prior balance, right? I think that we hold this balance. I think we hold above the halfback of it. So it looks like that's roughly above the open from Friday, which kind of would make sense to me. And if I had to think of a spot, I'd be looking at Thursday's high. So that being settlement highs coming into tomorrow. That's also where we consolidated nicely. I think that's where we trailed the point of control. So settlement highs to about somewhere here is going to be where I'm expecting us to hold. On the actual S&Ps, that's about 44.08 to about 43.97. Maybe we go down to this kind of 43.92 area. That's lining up with, I think, last week's RTH high. Yeah, right about here. This definitely looked like an area of interest. So I know we're getting some selling now, but I really do think that slows down later into the session, and we do turn around during the RTH. And look, I'm not expecting us to pump massively tomorrow, but I don't think that we're going to break last week's high by any meaningful amount. Let's throw on. I know this is a little bit ugly, but if we're able to open somewhere around here, if we can get inside kind of this first standard deviation, I think we could play against last week's high pretty safely. So that's how I'm going to generally be looking at this market, is that I expect us to hold Friday's open, and then I expect us to kind of hold this sort of area and then have a nice sort of, sub 40 point kind of range, right? So if we put in a high the day somewhere around, I don't know, somewhere around here, 40 points, 4,400-ish, or if you couldn't even make it up that high, 40 points, it's above the open. So anywhere around here is kind of where I'm expecting us to hold. NASDAQ, not too dissimilar. Again, a multi-day balance zone, whatever you want to point it out as, something like this maybe, or maybe you widen it out, something like this, but whatever. Again, I think we're going to hold this kind of initial balance high. Thursday's high will become settlement highs, consolidate nicely, so anywhere around here. The Dow has been a little bit weaker on the 10-minute chart. Once again, settlement highs here. This has been a nice level of interest. I think if you do lose kind of this initial balance high, you'll be breaking down into a sell. So that's how I'm looking at this thing. Is that I'm pretty bullish overall. I don't really like using that bull or bear term, but I'll be looking to buy dips, and that'll be the theme until we're able to break. This Friday low or the Friday open. I'm going to be largely looking to buy dips. So looking for a smaller range tomorrow and looking to buy a dip of some sort. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. Have a great night. Trade safe.